Hi everybody, welcome to this session. We are going to talk about Yggio and the roadmap for Yggio for a year and a half or so. My name is Lann. I work with sales and business development here at Yggio. And together with me today I have Håkan.
Nice to meet you all. My name is Håkan Lundström. I work as one out of two product managers for our horizontal IoT integration platform, Yggio. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, so first off, I thought it was a good thing to talk about what Yggio is today. So Yggio, as I hope that most of you might know, but some of you might not, Yggio is, like Håkan said, a horizontal IoT integration platform and data sharing platform. A very, thin and effective piece of software that you use to connect to devices over various protocols like sensors and actuators and control systems of various kinds. We bring all the data into our platform and normalize the data, store the data in a time series database, and deliver all functionality and data through open APIs. We have our own Yggio API, and we are of course using the Fireware and GSI version 2 API as well, which is nowadays not only European but a global standard. And also inside of Yggio, we have an automation engine that can react on various values and events, and under certain conditions perform actions, such as simple things as send them text or an email, or integrate to a business system, or controlling actuators and different control systems. So typical example usually is if you have a water leak, then it makes sense to turn off the water. It's a very secure platform. We are working hard on the security bits and pieces. We have the capability to integrate to the customer or partner identity and access management system to make sure that the users are valid. What more to say? Am I forgetting anything, Håkan?
I think you got the main parts here. So I will talk a little bit more about how to integrate it with your external IAM systems.
Yeah. Okay. We deliver Yggio from our own. We're using a data center provider where we are building our own cloud solution. But we can actually take our software and install it at the customer data center also, if the customer so wishes. So very flexible in that sense. I think I will shift over. I think Håkan, you're going to take most of this roadmap, right? Because you actually know about it more than I do. And then I think in the end we will talk a bit about why and who is driving us to do to put these bits and pieces in the roadmap, why we do that. But is it okay if I interrupt every now and then?
Sure, go ahead and interrupt when you like, Robert.
Yeah, you do your thing, Håkan, and
okay.
I'll try to stay quiet for a while.
Okay, so then let's talk about the roadmap for Yggio until Q2 2022. Basically, I will talk about the general features and the functionality and the applications that we have, and also the user experience. So first, during 2021 here, we will transfer all our customers to the Yggio Free. And as Robert just introduced you, Yggio Free has then the Fireware data models. It has NGSI v2 APIs. And another thing that it has that is really important, that is the key cloak. It has a key cloak open source component. And this with this component, you can then integrate Yggio together with your own EAM system. So you can actually use then SAML 2.0 to log into Yggio, or you can use Active Directory or other LDAP compatible system to log into Yggio. And this migration, it will be secured by Sensative team. And also when you get Yggio free here, a little bit later in this year, you will also get a complete new user interface. And during the year here, we will continue to add quite a lot of new feature to it. So if we then look at the roadmap, now in Q1 and Q2, one of the key items we will do is that we will have an improved and structured translator handling. Basically what we're doing is that we are breaking out the translators, the decoders. So they are outside of Yggio. So it means that we can release a new translator without having to release a new Yggio. And going forward here during the year, we will actually enable you to do that yourself as well, to add your own translator to your own devices.
If I may just a comment there, Håkan.
Sure.
For me as a sales guy, I know that this is something that a lot of our customers is asking for. It's a bit of a downer for our customers when they are forced to buy some hours from us to make them, able to add new devices and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. But what you're saying now is it's only a couple of months away, right?
Correct. It's just a couple of months away. So actually, I think right now, as we speak, this very moment, the development is ready internally. So now we're preparing the release phase of this.
Okay, cool. That's, yeah.
So let me go on. Another item that will come is the calculator node. And this is an aggregation and arithmetic operation node. So basically, as input, you take 1 or 2 or 3 other nodes, and then you add them together and you do some arithmetic operation to this one. And this could, for example, enable like IND, individual measurement and charging.
Yeah.
And other features that you would like to have that you need this calculation on. And let me talk more. We have some UI improvements. For example, we are developing a Grafana data plugin. And that means that we can utilize the advanced visualization that you have in Grafana directly on top of Yggio. So you can make pie charts, bar charts, and also compare different nodes with each other. Let me talk about performance.
Can I just, on the Grafana thing, we already do have plugins to other visualization tools, right? Like Power BI from Microsoft and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So, but what you're saying with Grafana is that you won't need to store the data in the Grafana system. You can actually use the data as is inside of Yggio.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. So it is not that we need to extract the data into a Grafana database and then Grafana use it Grafana database. Instead, Grafana directly get the data from Yggio, so it is not double stored.
Yeah.
And also when you log into Grafana, you will actually log into your account in Yggio, so you only get like your items. You follow the Yggio security authentication as well.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's a hustle otherwise to have multiple set of data. Is it really updated or not? But in this way, you're going to be sure that the visualization is correct, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then performance. During actually, I think the last 1 year or something, we have been developing Kubernetes to be able to add Yggio on top of Kubernetes. Kubernetes, you can basically consider to be an operating system. So we're adding support for Kubernetes orchestration, and that means that when the system starts up, we will by default have like 3 microservices of every component that we have. And then if the load increases, you have a lot of work to do, then we increase the number of microservices. So you get 3, you get 4, you get 5, and then the load decreases. We go back down again. So we will automatically scale up the performance based on the need of the system. So this is a big thing, and we've been developing this as a state for more than a year, actually.
Yeah, but it's not just performance, right? It's also for redundancy, kind of.
Correct. Exactly.
Right?
So if something, let's say some microservice inside Yggio is crashing, then Kubernetes will discover this and immediately start up a new one. And you also have redundancy running by having 3 or 4 or 5 already running. So basically the uptime will be much better than it is today.
Great. And this is also everything here. We're looking at our sheet set PowerPoint here. So everything in this slide or in this box is actually more or less very soon, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So we'll take a little bit more about the application level. So we will have a new device installer. So you can do a batch installation of devices. So instead of having to install the devices one by one, you make it in a batch. So you have a file, like an Excel file, where you have your keys to your devices, and then you just upload it, and then the system will automatically install all of these devices. We will build upon this as well and turn this into a batch configuration as well. So you can not only install them, but you can actually do batch configuration on it. Right now, we're also implementing support for a 3D tool called Unity, where you can then make 3D models. So that means that with Unity, you can then use data in Yggio and make like nice 3D models, like virtual reality with Yggio. Another item we have been developing for a long time, that is our replacement to our current control panel. Our control panel, we think, it's good to administrate like devices and do user access and stuff, but it's becoming a little bit old-fashioned. So we want to freshen it up a bit, make it a little bit more modern. So we're developing our new device manager, and that one will be ready for launch, I think, in the end of Q2 this year here.
I mean, the interface right now is not like 2021-ish, right? The control panel, it needs to be a bit...
Maybe I will not go that far, but still, yeah, I agree with you that it needs some refreshment.
Yeah.
And also into this new device manager, there we also have generic language support. So right now in Yggio, we're only supporting English, and to some components we also have Swedish. But this new device manager, it will automatically support more languages. Of course, we will still start with English, and we will also add German as a first step. But with time, since we have this multi-language support, we can add more language to this as times.
Sehr gut. Sehr gut.
Then let's move on to Q3 2021. And here we are adding this translator that I just mentioned that we're having in Q1, Q2 through API. Here we're adding a UI on top of that. So directly from the UI, we can then add a new third-party or user-specific translator to Yggio directly. And in this timing, we will also improve our organization manager to add billing and usage into this one. Billing is a very important area, and we have a lot of customers asking us about the billing. And we think the natural part here is to add that into the organization manager. About devices, in this time frame, we also have some important device improvement coming up. One is simulation. So you can then simulate devices, and this could be helpful, for example, in the rule engine. If you want to debug a rule or you want to debug your third-party application, you can then do simulation. And another enhancement there in device area is device recording and replay. So you can then record all the payloads that is coming from a device and then replay them later. And this is also because of troubleshooting that you can, like if you have a device that is something strange happened or something, you can record it and then you can replay it and analyze what is happening here. So in the application and user interface here, we want to add a system logging user interface. We do have one in the current control panel, but we will exchange that one to the new device manager. And then we would like to break out the logging interface from the control panel and have that as a separate application. So that's what we do. And this time frame, we will also integrate all the applications. So they will be in one UI. So as it is today, when you open a new application, it opens in a new tab. But here it will open as one UI instead. You can still choose to open it in a tab, but then you need to right-click and select Open in the other tab here. One other item we're being asked a lot about, that is report generator for like measuring and billing and data consumption here. So we plan to add an application for that as well. And we also have CCAN. CCAN is a data platform for sharing open data. So we will add an opportunity there, an option to have CCAN as a plugin to Yggio, so you can basically use the type of CCAN functions directly from Yggio. And the final improvement we will do in the application and UI in this time frame, that is scripting. And with scripting here, I mean that you can save a configuration from your account, and then you can transfer this account to another server, for example, and then you can reload this account into it with all the devices and all the rules and things that you have.
No matter how many?
And no matter how many, that should work exactly.
Okay.
It should work.
Yeah.
That's our plan.
Cool. I mean, that's going to be a good thing, because sometimes you would like to, change the environment or whatever it might be.
Correct. Yeah. Let us move on to Q4 2021 here. This is a time frame when we plan to update our rule engine. Well, I shouldn't say update, I should actually say new rule engine.
So we're doing a complete new one?
Yeah, we're doing a complete new one. Of course, we will say the core parts of the rule engine in Yggio. When I say new, I mean more the graphical user interface, the rule editor.
Okay.
So that one we will change, but when we change that one, we'll also have to update the rule engine inside Yggio.
I mean, it's quite powerful as is today. So would you, will it be like, I'm not sure if it's the right phrasing here, but will it be like more powerful and be able to do more, or is it more about ease of using it?
I would say the main focus would probably be the ease of use, because the rule engine, as you say today, is already very powerful, but it can be kind of tricky to use.
Yeah.
And also the debugging can be quite hard, like you expect something to happen, but it doesn't happen. So how do you find that item?
Oh.
And that's why we focus on to make it more easy to use. But while doing this, of course, we will also enhance the functionality. For example, today we have timers, but once you start the timer lives until it expires.
Mm-hmm.
That could be tricky in some use cases, so we want to improve the timer management in it as well. And let me go on here. So another improvement we will make in the rule engine is also then general event reporting to external services through XML. We also plan to improve our device manager here. So we call this the device configuration manager, phase 1. But I would say the key features that we do here, that is Edge Yggio and distributed Yggio. And with distributed Yggio, we mean that you can have several Yggios like on Edge. And then you have a mother Yggio or parent Yggio that is then connecting to all this Yggio and then sharing the data upwards in this hierarchy here. So we create a distributed system.
So this is, maybe I haven't paid enough attention, Håkan, but I was assuming like the Edge and distributed Yggio were like, I don't know, 2024 or something. It's already this year.
It is already this year, correct. So we want to do this year. The enabler for this is actually a new database that we want to put in, the Cockroach database, that is a true distributed database.
Okay.
So when we put that one in, that enables us to create this distributed Yggio here, and that will be doing this time frame here.
I mean, what will that mean for our customers? That would mean that you would be able to install Yggio like on an appliance or a device, like in a building or somewhere where if the internet breaks, things will keep running.
Absolutely. So this is the purpose, right? So if you have some like critical task that is ongoing and it must be that these rules simply have to execute, they cannot be dependent on the internet to work, then you will have your Edge Yggio standing there. But then you still want to control your Edge Yggio and see all the data that is collected on the top level Yggio. A typical use case here we have, for example, is what we do in a public finance project called Connect the Ship. When we'll have an Edge Yggio on every ship, and then we will have a mother Yggio into the harbor at the ship owner's place.
Yeah.
This is a typical use cases, and there are many other use cases where you simply have to have the rule execution locally on site.
Yeah, I mean, it would be troublesome if we're doing like, I don't know, healthcare or elderly care or something like that, checking out the pulse or monitoring safety or something, and the internet goes down. It would be not so fun.
Yeah, that's not so good. Yeah, exactly.
If the internet goes down, then thousands of elderly people will also go down.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I thought for sure. I thought it was later, but this is exciting news, and it makes my life a bit easier as a sales guy.
Yeah. So that will come already this year. So this is top prioritized features for us to do.
Yeah.
In this time frame, also if we look at application level, we plan to have a first version of a marketplace, both for applications and data. And we also plan to release some of our core components, like our own application, as open source. And that will make it much easier for all our customers to develop application that will run on top of Yggio.
Yeah, we already have some components.
Sure, we do have like Yggio Connect, that is a wrapper for our APIs that makes it easy to use all the functionality in our APIs. And then to use Yggio Connect as an example, we have our service example. And the service example is, I think, is quite extensive. It actually can add users, remove users, add devices, start subscription. So it's really good actually. But our new application that will leave on open source at that time, this time frame, they will of course be much bigger and contain much more functionality. So it will be much more extensive how to utilize.
Yeah, and the reasoning here is that it's going to be very simple for application developers and others to use some of our components to create new applications and new services on top of Yggio, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So let us go into 2022 then. Now we're coming quite far ahead here in the future. Here we have some plans to do a framework for Yggio plugins, so you can actually then plug in your own functionality more into the core of Yggio, not just as top of the API, but actually as a true plugin here. And we also want to have put the internal framework to support linked data models in place here, and this will then support the future data models. And some of these linked data models that we are planning to have supporting in this time frame, that will be the NGSI LD data model. There's also Salif and one DM, and also some part of the real estate core data model that we can.
Yeah, we have some support for real estate core already today, right?
Correct, we do. But this is deeper. This is more like really a linked data model into Yggio here. And from application point of view here, we also will take the phase 2 of a device configuration manual. And we also have a quite big feature here that we would prefer to do a little bit earlier, but right now our roadmap is kind of full here. And that is dashboards with configurable widgets. You can think like an Android home, where you can add your own widgets on your home screen. So this is what we would like to do. This is quite big work here. So right now we would like to do it earlier, but right now because of all the activities and work we have, it's end up here in Q1, Q2 2022.
Yeah, I mean, are we starting to compete with application developers now? Because I see that as a bit troublesome. I mean, if we're doing the application, everything is there already. Why do you need all the different services? Do you see what I mean?
I see what you mean, but I don't think we are competing. This is still like inside Yggio, and like if you compare them again with Android, I mean, we have a lot of Android home screen and we have a lot of applications on top of Android, but you still have this customizable Android home screen that you can utilize. So I still think that from a Yggio core application to take this step to add this level of functionality, I think this is needed.
Yeah, it's still generic, right?
Still generic.
It's never domain specific.
Right.
Just yeah. Great.
So that time frame we will add then standard widgets, and we will also add then some APIs to enable for third parties then, as you want, to develop their own widgets.
Yeah. Great. So we talked a bit before this session about of course this is a roadmap. You never know what happens, right? It may change in bits and pieces and put push some things into the future and then pull some things back and so forth, and some things will be added. I'm just guessing, But what's the rationale between, why is what we are planning for, why are we doing these things? What is pushing us, so to speak? Is it our own, just thinking, or what's happening?
This is a very good question, Robert. And there's actually three things that is driving our roadmap. First of all, it's our own idea. Where do we want to take Yggio? Where do we want Yggio to go? This is one very important item. The second item is our customers' requirements. What is our customers' requirement and what type of needs do they have? And the third one, this is a public finance project. And we have been very successful in having Yggio selected to be part in this public finance project, because Yggio is this horizontal integration IoT platform that it seems like every public finance project needs.
Yeah.
So, for example, we have Critisec, that is LAN security for critical infrastructure. We have Safest Home, that is LAN application and platform components for smart home and cybersecurity. We have Oscord, that is LAN secure IoT based on 5G and also for remote medical care. We have agriculture and AEA in the service of the climate. This is driven by Vinnova, and with the help of IoT and satellite data and geodata, we will then make the agriculture more climate friendly. And we have some other like DICE, that is a huge project about distributed artificial intelligence, and also ELOS, driven by the Swedish Energy Agency.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you yourself are heavily invested in some of these projects, at least, and I know that all these projects are, pushing the boundaries on what we can do with Yggio, and what we're doing in this financed project will be, commercially available a year or two afterwards, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that is the key item with it, and all this public finance project, they are on the absolute edge of today's technology. So this means that we are participating and basically creating the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I work with commercial projects mainly, right? The commercial customers, and whatever they want is my focus.
Yeah.
but I see the benefit from the finance project, of course, and that's not a big thing. So, yeah, are there anything else that we are, missing? Is there something that is not written in the roadmap, Håkan? Are we,
Of course, we do have things that is written that we have that is not written in the roadmap, but then we cannot talk about that today, right? So,
yeah.
So there are other items as well. This is not everything.
Okay, so I'm thinking that might be it for now, or is there something else? No, I think that's a wrap for the Yggio roadmap. And thank you, Håkan, for I know that you're a busy guy, for taking half an hour to chat with us, and also for you listening. And if you have any questions or ideas and thoughts on our roadmap, and what we're missing or anything, please ping us in the chat, or drop a mail, or whatever you know where to find us. I think that's a wrap. Thank you.
Thank you all.